Hello and welcome to English with Jimmy. And today's subject is about must. Must is a modal verb. So, what is a modal verb? A modal verb is an auxiliary verb or a helper verb that's used with another verb, okay, to express ideas like possibilities, necessity, permission, prohibition, and so on, okay? That is a modal verb. So, must is a modal verb. Okay. Modal verbs we all know, like can and could, shall and should, will and would, may and might, must and ought to, and so on. Um, the format that we can use must in for the sentence is a subject, and then must, and then a verb, and then an object, and then a time expression. Examples: you must eat vegetables every day. Here you can see you is a subject, must, verb is eat, and the object is vegetables, and time expression every day. And the same applies to all the other examples there in a different ways. Okay, if it rained all day, it must be very wet outside. If he wasn't the first, he must have been the second. You must arrive in class, okay, on time. Here we can see must is being used with verbs in present or simple, or in present perfect, have been. You got that, guys? All right. Um, Now, must is used to express obligation, okay, and to give orders, okay, and give a very strong advice or recommendation. Got it? So let's see some examples of the use of must. Okay, usage of must. Okay, there you go. Obligation: you must obey the law. Certainty: look at the snow. It must be very cold outside. Yes. Prohibition: you mustn't drink and drive. Strong recommendation: we must merge our companies soon. Necessity: you must feed the cat when I go on holiday. Okay, yes, very good. These are all like the conditions or the usage that we use must in. All right, very good. Um, Must can be used for present and future references. So you can say, I must go to work now, which is for present, or I must get to work tomorrow, here for the future reference. Just two examples for that. Must can be a noun and it can be a verb. So graduation is a must, that is a noun. Graduation must be in computer science, that's a verb, must be. So must here is coming as a modal or auxiliary assisting the verb be. Um, as we said, when must is used as a noun, it means necessity. Okay, so it's very important. It's necessary that you do these things. Okay, um, so here is another example of must as a noun. Okay, drinking water daily is a must. Okay, so here when it's out of necessity, it's very important. When something is very important or necessity, we use it as a noun. Must is a noun. Okay. While as a verb, okay, a graduation must be in computer science. That is just as a verb to assist the verb to be. I think that's it. Must is present tense. We don't have past or past participle, so we don't say musted. Okay, like can and could. We don't have will and would, shall and should, may and might, but we don't have must and musted. Okay, so that is not acceptable. It's not there. There's no past and there's no past participle for must. If we are using must in a sentence and there is another to assist a past participle verb there as an auxiliary or a helper, so helper verb, auxiliary verb or helper verb. Here, guys, remember, if we are using past participle, it will lead to the meaning of the sentence will be probability. She must have found the keys. Okay, it's probable, very likely that she found the key. Okay, they must have arrived on time or by now. Okay, must have arrived. Have arrived is a present perfect. Have found is a present perfect. You got that? But because here we have past participle and past participle as part of the, it's a mouthful, as part of the of the phrase structure of the verb structure, present perfect and present perfect here. and we're using must to help, and we're using must to help the present perfect. When it's used must with past participle, it's a probability. The meaning is probability. Is that clear? Now we said that we can't use must in the past. We can't say musted. So what can you use instead? Instead we use had to in the past. So must and have to in the present, and musted. We don't have something called musted, so we use had to. Okay, but had to is not as strong as must. Must is 100%, and had to is or have to is like 90%. So when we are in the past, musted and had to is weaker than must in the past. Okay, just remember that note. It will come with practicing actually. So if we're comparing must and have to, we can say here is an example, guys. Okay, a teacher said you must write the essay. So the teacher said, you must. And the student said, I have to write the essay. So you can see in an indirect way, the student is saying, I have to. We use I have to when the subject who's been told to do something, okay? So someone who is telling the saying is the word is must. The student who received the order from the teacher is saying, I have to write the essay. Also in the questions, do I have to write the essay or must I write the essay? We can see here we started the question with do, the verb, okay? And while must, we started the question with must. Must I write the essay? So with have to, we can't start a question with have to, okay? But we can start a question with must. That's something else, okay? Good. Something else, if we're talking about must and have to. Must exist only in simple present, okay, and present perfect. Simple present, I eat, okay, I must eat, and present perfect, it must have been something, okay. Must have been. So must and past participle. So that's the present perfect. Okay. The meaning of the sentence in the present simple is obligation or necessity. Okay, certainty and strong probability, clear and simple, clear cut. But for the with the present perfect, as we said before, it's probability, not a certainty. Okay, it's just supposition. Okay, probability, supposition, and strongly felt opinion and supposition. That's it. Yes, strongly felt opinion or supposition or probability. Okay, that's good. We said that must is a modal verb. Okay, have to is not a modal verb, but it's like a part of the package. Consider that. Okay, but it's not really a modal verb. That is okay, and it's not an auxiliary verb either. All right, that's have to. Have to mainly expresses a general obligation, while must, okay, is used for specific obligation. So up there, we talked about the difference here between using must from the teacher and have to from the students, and in the questions, these are some differences. Now we have some more differences here. Is that when you use have to, you are specific in the meaning. When you use must, you are talking general. So, example, I have to brush my teeth twice a day. That's okay. That is a specific task or something he's talking about. I must tell you something important. That is general. You're talking in general. That's also a difference between using have to and using must. And remember, have to and must are both in the a, present, present tense, not the past yet. We haven't got to the past yet where we use had to instead of musted, because must has no past. Okay, here is the certainty difference between must and have to. You must do it in the present 100%. You have to do it is 90%. Okay, good. And you could say I have to do it. All right, not you have. It's like starting with the subject and starting with the object if you are okay talking about a subject and an object. But in general, must is 100% and have to is 90%. Okay. So must has no past and no past participle, and have to has a past and past participle. We can say had to, okay, instead of but must we can say musted, musted. All right. So have to. So we use have to replace must. Okay. Had to is the past of have to, so we use it instead of musted. Okay, to replaces must must in the past. Okay, we say musted. All right, just remember that part because it's not possible to have musted. Okay, that is wrong. Musted. Here's an example for the past. I had to pay my speeding ticket yesterday. I subject and then had to past, okay, like instead of musted, okay, and pay is the verb and my speeding ticket object and yesterday time expression. Um, because must have has no past participle, as we said, okay. So there is no way to use it in the past perfect. Yes, the past perfect had plus past participle, so we can't use it. There is no past participle for tense for must. So here we got have and had and had. You can see have, got, had, and had. Okay, while must is nothing. No past for it, no musted, and no musted here for the past participle. Here are some examples of using must and have to in the present and in the past. Okay, let's start with must. Okay, here is a sentence that starts with a subject. So I must help you. That is the present, which is okay. Now in the past, you can't say I musted help you. Not possible. So the past for have to or for have is had to. Okay, have to, and is had to, and the past for must is also had to. So we're using had to for have to, the past, and also had to for must in the past. So I have to help you. I had to help you. And I must help you. I had to help you. Still the same. Both are the same for the past, but different in the present. Okay, you got that? And we're starting with the subject. All right. In question, if we're making a question, so must I help you? Must I help you? Okay. If we're making a question out of this, we can say it was a must that I help you. Here, because we used was, okay, to assist, okay, must as a helper with must in order to have must in the past. So it was a must that I help you because we're talking about the past. You got that? And have I got to help you? That's when you're writing a question with have. So have I got to? We added got to have to. Okay. So have I got to help you? So had I got to help you? Here we had I got to help you. Had I got to help you, talking about it in the past, and have I got to help you for the present. But it's rarely used. Okay, if you are starting a sentence with object, okay, instead of a subject, okay. So instead of saying I, okay, we're starting with you, all right, which is a pronoun, I know, but there you go. You must help me. You must help me. All right. And you had to help me in the past. Okay. Must change into had to. Okay. You have got to help me. You have to help me. You have to help me or you have got to help me. Okay. It's stronger. So you can say you have to help me or you have got to help me. Both are okay. All right. I think it's clear now. I changed it. So you have to help me. You had to help me. You have got to help me. Okay. You had got to help me. Have got for the present and had got for the past. All right. Very good. For the question, okay. Must you help me? Okay. Must you help me? All right. And was it a must that you help me? Okay. It's a little bit complicated here, but I thought I'll mention it. So you know how it's said anyway. Was it a must that you help me? Because we're talking about the past. Okay, we're talking about the past. Okay, and then we can say for the present, do you have to help me? Instead of must you help me, do you have to help me? Here we're using have to. And did you have to help me in the past? Did you have to help me? These are examples of using must and have to in the present tense and the past tense. Here we got the past and the present. Examples of using had to instead of musted or the past of must, okay, in positive and negative and question sentences. Let's see some examples. Okay. For positive, you can't say I musted go to London. Okay, you say I had to go to London. Okay, so you're talking about the past. So you went and you explaining that you went because it was a must. Okay, got it? Good. Or you can say it was a must that I go to London. So you did go, and here you did go. It was a must that I go to London. All right. Um I didn't have to go to London. There is a possibility here that you stayed, you didn't go, or you did go. So these three examples here all mean that he did, I did, or he did go to London. Okay, so I had to go to London. Okay, it was a must that I go to London. I didn't have to go to London. All means that he went. And the last one, there's a 50-50 possibility because you can say, I didn't have to go to London. So I didn't go. Or you can say, I didn't have to go to London, but I went. You got it? So I didn't have can have both meanings. So for the negative, I musted not go to London. Of course, it's not possible at all. So we say, I had to not go to London. Not go to London. So I didn't go. I had to not go to London, or you can say I didn't have to go to London again, like the one we used here, which has possibility. Okay, so I didn't have to go to London. Okay, but so I didn't go. I didn't have to. That means the meaning that is negative. Not I didn't have to go to London, but I went. This I didn't have to go to London, but I didn't. Okay. You can also say it was not a must. It wasn't a must that I go to London. It wasn't a must that I go to London, which means also I didn't go. All three means you didn't go. You got that, guys? Okay, I hope it's clear. So one, two, three, and they all mean he didn't go. And here that's for the negative, and here for the positive, we have also one, two, three, and they all mean that he did go. And musted is never used at all, not possible, and not possible in the negative. If we are moving to also for not, again for another negative here, we have something we need to talk about. Yes, here is what I told you before about using was. Okay, it was not a must, or here using it was a must. Okay, for positive and affirmative, and for negative here, if we say must not for the negative, that applies for the negative. In the past is replaced for if we're talking about one person wasn't. So example, I was told I was not allowed. Got that, guys? I was not allowed to stand and watch. Okay, that is for a singular, one person. Okay, if we're using it for plural, we use weren't. Okay, so example, we were told we weren't to be to weren't. We used weren't here. Got that, guys? Okay, that's instead of must not. Okay, in the past, must not in the past for a single person we use wasn't, and must not in the past for a plural group of people we use weren't. Okay, is that clear? We talked about I know the video is quite long actually, but must has a lot. I didn't know it will have all that much because it doesn't have a past and a past participle, but I have to explain everything for you, so we're almost near the end now. So what we talked about, positive and negative, and of had to, and negative of had to, and now we're talking about the question. So You can't say, musted I go to London? That's not possible at all. So if we're talking about must, but we say, was it a must that I go to London? Okay, we're using, okay, was here, right? Instead of, for the past, of musted, or must. There's nothing called musted. That's wrong. You can't say that. Okay, so don't forget that is wrong, guys, please. Okay, and here again, you're asking a question, don't forget, about with must, okay, in the past. So, was it a must that I go to London? You got that? Was it a must? That's how you do it. Okay, good. Yeah, I know you're excited. All right. And if we're using have to, so we say, uh, did I have to go to London? Okay. And had I got to go to London? All right. So here, when we're using have, you said, did I have to go to London? If we're using had I got to go to London? Okay. But it's a little bit conditional, actually. Obviously, it's not used at all. So ignore that one at the bottom. Had I got to go to London? It's like a conditional, actually. You must add something to it. Had I got to go to London, nothing would have happened or whatever in town or whatever when I left. But did I have to go to London? I think it's the right way and it's the easiest way for a question in the past, which you should use. Ignore the had I got to go. Okay? That's it, really. I know it's a long video, and but we covered most there is to know about must, starting from the beginning that must is a modal verb and it's an assistant verb as a modal verb. It's part of the modal verbs will and shall and should, and the format for it: subject and the must and verb and object and expression time. And how we use must for obligation, uncertainty, and prohibition, and strong recommendation, necessity. And that must can be a verb, and it can be a noun, and it can give a reference to the future, present, and a reference to the future, as we've seen here. It's used with the present simple and the present perfect. Yes, we said all that. Um, Yes, it's a must. Necessity can be used as a noun, and if it is it can also be used as a verb. All right. Yes. And when used must with the past participle, it's we're talking about probability with the past participle, like we talked about that. Which we can't use must in the past, so instead we use have to in the past. Have to in the past is had to. So we give a clear example of the difference between must and have to in the present, okay? And we explained all that in the present. And then we said that have to is not a modal verb. And then we said that instead of that, must is 100% and have to is 90%. And we said that because must doesn't have a past and a past participle, we are going to use in the past we use had to. Okay, and we said an example here with a subject and had to and a verb and an object and time expression. And then we gave examples of present and the past for a difference between must and have to, okay, in present and in past, as you have seen here, starting with the subject. All these examples here started with subject, and then here we have another one we started with an object, okay, and we talked about it starting with a subject, yes, and in a question, okay, in a question form, and starting with an object also in a question form. We also talked about the usage of had to in positive, negative, and in questions. Okay, also in the past. All of them in the past because must instead of musted. All this just to show what did we do, so we don't have to use musted. We use had to. Okay. And I think that's it. That's it, girls and guys. And I thank you. Before I go, I just want to say any questions, please write to me or put it in the comments, and I'll definitely will answer it. No problem at all. So please, if you got any questions, has just have no hesitation and just write to me, please. Okay? I thank you.